Hello and welcome back to the NEC for my coverage of the 2023 Classic Motor Show. In part 1 we took a look at some of the Renaults that were being displayed by the Renault Owners Club and the Renault Classic Car Club, a video that is well worth a watch if you haven't done so already. In the meantime, I catch up with Ian from the Club Peugeot UK stand, where we take a look at a few of the vehicles that they have on display, some of which are actually celebrating anniversaries this year. So why not make yourself comfortable with a nice cup of tea and a biscuit and enjoy the rest of the show. So another one of the French car club stands that's here in Hall 5 at the NEC, Club Peugeot UK.
Yeah, it is, Mark.
Yep, glad I got that right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm with Ian, who's going to give us a little bit of a tour of some of the vehicles and tell us a little bit about the club.
Yeah.
So you're a proper members club?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, we've been 1981. We were founded, so we just recently celebrated our 40th anniversary. So that's great. But we are a traditional subscription-based club. We have a social media presence, but it's not our main function.
Yeah. Obviously, I will be leaving some links in the video description. So if you've got a Peugeot and you're interested in joining the club, you'll be able to find that in the video description.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're talking about anniversaries. You've got a few cars on the stand today.
Yeah, we have.
Celebrating anniversaries.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we've got our 30th anniversary of 306 this year, and we're lucky enough to have a 306 GTI 6 on the stand, which actually is owned by Bobby Pryor of BBC Two. She's a travel and traffic lady on BBC Two, so Bobby's car's here.
Right.
So that's a lovely example. So 30 years of 306. We then celebrate 40 years of 205. And of course, 205 was the car that saved the company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Robert Peugeot came to the UK. We were at a meeting, and he said, "If this car doesn't sell, that's it."
Yeah.
And luckily, it did.
They completely nailed it, didn't they? I mean, I grew up with Renault 5s.
Yeah.
I've been a lifelong Renault fan.
Yeah.
But I must admit, the 205, I mean, it's aged exceptionally well.
Yeah.
And I think it really did set the blueprint for
small hatchbacks. Yeah. I mean, 205. You know, it was a car that we had immediately. We had a pent-up demand for it. It started selling really well, and it just carried on. And of course, throughout the range, and of course, it got to GTIs in '84.
Yeah.
And that took us to another dimension that we really hadn't been in. You know, it was all very staid and 305s and that, but then suddenly we had a new market. Sold great, and thankfully saved the company.
Yeah.
But interestingly, it's not the biggest selling car we've ever had.
Right.
People think it is. It's the car that saved the company, but actually the 206 was the biggest selling car we ever produced.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. 206 was the biggest selling retail car in the UK 5 years on the trot.
Yeah. Saying that, I suppose it's only like with the Beetle. Volkswagen made the Beetle for years.
Yeah.
But when they eventually replaced it with the Golf, I think the Golf did actually end up outselling it.
Yeah.
And I think that was perhaps down to the fact that car ownership had sort of grown. You know, maybe just more people own cars by that point.
Yeah, I think it's just indicative of what, you know, of the way the market changes, and we were lucky to get 205, and it was a success right out of the box.
Yeah. I mean, I've actually reviewed a very late 205 1.1 Mardi Gras on the channel before. And it's a fantastic car. They're so easy to drive. Visibility is excellent. There's so much glass area on the cars. And even with the 1.1 litre engine, they're still great fun to drive, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I mean, and the beauty of them is it's a big reproduction program off the back of GTI, I have to say, but it comes down into the lesser models, if you like.
Yeah,
so
you'd need deep pockets for a Tolman, for example, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, I mean to me it's great, fabulous. It's a great thing, but we're finding, I guess, like you guys, people want standard cars.
Yeah.
That's where the market, that's what people, enthusiasts want. We want standard cars.
Yeah, well, sadly, my generation, once they became cheap cars, we modified them and put them backwards in hedges. But yeah, obviously the GTI, I mean, there's a long-standing debate about which is the better, the 1.6 or the 1.9, which we could probably argue about till next year's show.
Yeah, I mean, I've had both. To be honest with you, it's either or to me.
Yeah.
The 1.9 is a bit rougher than a 1.6 driving, but it's quicker. It's nice. I mean, I've had them both. I've got 1.6 at the moment. I've got 1.9. And so when you drive them, you realise this is a great car.
Yeah. Of course, there were some specials, like there were the Griff, weren't they? And the a show earlier this year, there was a dimmer model there.
Yeah, I mean the ones that obviously it starts at the top with the T16.
Yeah.
Which I was lucky enough to own one. And then it comes down to GTI, but within those GTI, the most special model was the 1FM.
Right.
And there was only 25 of them to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Radio 1.
Right, okay.
And they're all numbered, so we know the guys with them know where 19 of them are.
Yeah, I'll be honest though, the 205 that interests me is actually one of the cars you've got on stand today, the XS.
The XS, yeah.
Now, rumour has it that on a twisty B road, because they're so light, an XS would probably give a 1.6 GTI a run for its money.
I think that's right, and I think what we've seen is people who really have been priced out by GTI are now moving down the model range, and XS is becoming very popular, and people are looking for nice XSs, and we're lucky to have a few.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you haven't got the wheel arch spats and the side mouldings, but you've got that front valance with the fog lamps, and square on from the front, you'd mistake it for a GTI quite easily, wouldn't you? Yeah.
It's a really nice car, to drive, and it's as I say, people are now finding them, and we've got a very early GT and A-Reg one, 83 A-Reg in the club, and it's lovely, absolutely lovely.
Yeah. Excellent. Right, obviously we've got a few other models on the stand here today.
Yeah.
Some of them are a bit older, and I'll be honest, probably not really my era of Peugeot. 504 now, I have seen a coupe model of one of these before.
This is a very special model. This is a Break Riviera recreation, and there was one of these made by Pininfarina in 1972. That car still exists. It wasn't a Peugeot commissioned vehicle. That car still exists in Spain or Germany. The owner of this car was trying to track it down to buy it, but he couldn't find it. He knows roughly where it is, but it's in a private collection.
Yeah.
So he commissioned this car to be built by a company in England, and he wanted a faithful recreation. And it was a 3-year project. They started, believe it or not, I asked them on Friday, where did you start with the dimensions? And they said, believe it or not, Box made a 1/18 scale model of the car, the original, and they contacted them. They got the drawings that they used to produce their model, and they just upscaled all the drawings.
Right.
And it's been changed a little bit. The owner did actually spec it with various things that he wanted on the car, which was slightly different, more modern, like folding seats and what have you. But the workmanship and detail of this car is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's been at Hampton Court Palace last year. It was in the magazine in Classic and Sports Car in December, and as soon as I saw it, I contacted the owner and said, we want it on the stand at the NEC.
Yeah. You're definitely not going to see another one at a show, are you?
You're not going to see another one, period. So, moving on finally to our 1955 Peugeot 203. Obviously, these were rugged, they were very reliable in mostly African countries and Sri Lanka, those type of countries. But a few came to the UK at the time, and we've got quite a few in the club. They're very loyal owners, I have to say, and they do go forever. And a lot of the parts that we used on the 203 went into 403, so you can still keep them on the road, which is the main thing.
I think people often forget, don't they, with French cars? Usually people who've never owned French cars, the first thing they say is, oh, they're unreliable, they've got bad electrics. People forget that French cars were once some of the most rugged cars.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a 1925 Peugeot, and it's got an electric start on it.
Right.
Okay. I've got a 1939 car that's got 3 rows of seats.
Yeah.
And a 202 estate. So there's lots of innovations that Peugeot had many, many years ago, which we now take for granted in our cars.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, but it's like everything, things evolve over the years, and some good, some bad, but we get through it, and, you know, we've come out the other side. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, thanks very much for the tour, Ian.
All right, no problem, and thank you.
I hope that you've enjoyed this brief look at the Club Peugeot UK stand here at the NEC Classic Motor Show. I will of course be leaving links to their website in the video description. In a future video we've still got to have a look at Simca and Matra as well as Citroën, so make sure that you hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to be made aware of when the next video goes live. Thank you for watching.